What's going on, gang? Hang on, I'm just trying to herd the cats here. We've got Robert's been having some technical issues with his computer, which is lovely. And so he's trying to Skype me on a Nook HD, and I don't think it's working. So he may be out. Dave apparently has lost internet connection, so he may be out, and so we're kind of waiting on Alex, who should be joining us in the next 10-15. So chat, let me know if you can hear me all right. I am going to restart this match and start showing off the build here a little bit. Yep, big week for us. For those of you who are kind of new to us, we've had a pretty fantastic week in the history of the project in terms of finally getting a big, huge update out the door. And for those who have joined us before, you will still note that I'm still very terrible at this game, and I'm probably going to have to put it on dummy mode, or you guys can just watch me get beat up. Yeah, it really sucks. I hate having to force you guys to listen to me solo, but right now we're having trouble, like I said, herding all the cats here tonight. Just a myriad of technical issues, and like I said, our programmer Robert, who you guys talked with last week, had a bit of an issue with his main computer, and so literally he's right now, he was trying to chat with me on a Nook HD, and it's not really working, I don't think. So we're just gonna like roll with it for this little bit. Alex has talked about he's going to be here probably in the next 10 minutes or so. And so you guys get stuck with me. In a little bit here, I'll kind of run down. It's been a big week for us. We've got, like I said, got this update out the door, and for those of you who have seen it, kind of last week we previewed it a little bit. We've gotten even a few more bells and whistles, a few more changes based on some player feedback. I think we got the update out the door Wednesday morning, and had a couple of bug fixes since then. I think we're up to like 3 updates in the last week. Eric hit LB right as CPU goes for Apple. It's not hard. Yes, you have to remember that I am terrible at these games. In fact, we've been laughing all week at me trying to actually successfully defeat the computer, because again, remember, I am absolutely terrible, and I'm more of the casual game. So it's all good. It's all good. But as you guys can see, last week we had some of this stuff cleaned up, but a lot of it was spent bug fixing. Yeah, so I tried something this week. I tried actually posting our Skype announcement, or our Twitch announcement, over to our Steam channel. Hang on here, guys. Sorry, I'm trying to manage different chat windows and all this kind of stuff. I've got Robert here online, but like I said, he's kind of bumming because, like I said, it's been kind of a good week for us. And we've all kind of wanted to get in here and take a bow, but I don't know what the hell happened with Dave. He said, I've been texting with him, and he says there were some storms in the area that kind of blew through his neck of the woods, and even though the storms have passed, for some ungodly reason, he is stuck without any internet for some dumb reason, which again, if everybody knows the history of Pro Wrestling X, a gong show of this nature is just fairly typical for a Tuesday night. So so it's all good. Yeah, so yeah, I tried posting something to our Steam channel, and so we might end up with a lot of new people. For those who are kind of joining us for the very first time, we've been doing this the last I don't know, 10-11 weeks or something like that, where we decided to kind of give everybody a little heads up about you know, what kinds of stuff we've been working on. One of our artists, Alex, has been doing some live animation and art rendering, so that's been kind of fun to watch. We've been showing everybody how those models are made, and then the last few weeks we've been rocking out with a new build, and again, for those of you who are on Steam and actually have our game, you'll notice, like I said, a flurry of updates the last few days that we've been trying to kind of do right by the lack of updates. And so we've got a new programmer on board, and he has been rocking out like nobody's business. And so the game, obviously, if you saw it and you played the first version, and you're now seeing this for the very first time, it's a pretty dramatic difference. It was pretty much a full reboot and a full overhaul of everything. We're getting some different what Dave actually is doing on Steam, or excuse me, on chat. Oh, am I stuck here, or did I just lose? Did I just lose? Sorry, guys. I'm trying to man 18 different things here at once. I think I'll restart the match here. Did I have my first crash? We haven't had a crash in a while. Let's see if I can get the menu to come up here. All right, fine. We're just gonna do this the hard way. We're just gonna restart we'll just restart the window. I haven't had the crash on this build in a really long time, so I'm actually feeling pretty proud of that. And yeah, you're gonna get some music early.
Fight!
And some sound effects. Yeah, for those of you who did join us last week, you'll notice that we've got a lot of new menu items. We've got a lot of new things all the way around here. It's been, like I said, a fun week. Sorry, gang. Trying to get the windows all straightened around. Boy, isn't this fun? Listening to the Gong Show where Eric is doing this all by himself. God, it's so annoying. Sammy, to answer your question, this is the version that's on Steam. This is not the last week. For those of you who joined us, we were having trouble getting the build to play without audio, so that we could actually talk over the game. But we got all that straightened around with some new preferences, and we got that straightened around pretty quick. So this is the actual version that's up on Steam. The official version number, I believe, is 0.747. And it's been just that we've been trying to tweak things all the way along. We got a lot of great feedback from you guys almost immediately as soon as the game came out. Some different options that people wanted to add. Some people had thought that like the camera work was a little bit too close. Some people don't like the camera cuts. And so what we try to do is just try to knock out a lot of that low-hanging fruit, a lot of that those little fixes that can be done in no time. And again, the gameplay just keeps getting tighter and tighter. We reduced the size of the spirit meters and all that kind of stuff because they were kind of obnoxiously big. Some of them were flashing at a pretty obnoxious rate of speed, and so we adjusted a lot of that. Fixed a lot of bugs. You guys probably remember a couple of weeks ago where I ran into that taunt bug where I would just keep looping the taunt over and over again. We repaired that one. We've gotten a few other ones that have kind of since come in, but yep, no reverses yet. You can prevent a grapple. I'm just really lousy at the timing of this. This has been somewhat of a topic in our own internal forums, talking about how like the functionality of blocking, if it's too difficult, too hard, and who is you know, how hard do we need to make the game? For me personally, like I said, I think it's too hard. Because I'm very terrible at this, and I do not like timing-based games. I'm like more of a casual guy, but there are other people in the crew that think that okay, the timing-based blocking mechanism is definitely the way to go because it adds a little bit harder gameplay and all that kind of fun stuff. So that's been kind of the fun part. And you guys, anybody who's been paying attention to our Facebook page, has been seeing the progress on submissions, and that's been all Alex. And hey, cool, we've got Mr. Kolek coming in now. I am going to call him really quick.
Hey, bud.
What's going on, boss? Hey, I'm going to connect you live here to the stream. They can probably already hear me right now. Just stand by here.
Do you want me to start a stream up on the? Oh, no, or are you going to?
Nope, I've got one actually going live right now. I was kind of waiting for everybody else to get in, so I decided to just launch it myself here. So let me add you to the channel. Window capture. Click OK, and I think you are golden.
Okay. Should I
Yep.
share my screen now?
Nope, you're good. I'm actually playing the game kind of live here. I was going to give everybody kind of a quick rundown of what we've been working on here for the last week, but I will want you to switch in a second. Chat, if you can do me a favor and let me know if you can hear Alex okay. Alex, say something fun and witty and you know, all that kind of fun stuff.
Hi, Eric.
No, wow. Well, thanks, man.
I got them.
Man, thanks.
I got them.
I just need they're getting a real treat. They're getting to see me talk and like try to manage like 10 Skype windows and try to play the game, which I'm already terrible at, all in one fell swoop. So feel sympathy for the people that are watching us right now. But we got a good crowd. I posted our link to Steam this time right as we were broadcasting, and we've gotten a couple of people saying hey. So yeah, King Leon, welcome. We said we've got a this is the Pro Wrestling X update that just rolled out. I think it was Wednesday. I think it was. So it's been up for a week. Chat, let me know if you can hear Alex. Pretty please. Keep talking, Alex.
I need to apologize for last week. If you remember, I think it was last week. You left Robert and I on there. Well, when I started twitching, but I hit record. I didn't hit broadcast. So Robert and I did half an hour, and no one even heard.
Oh, that's right. Because I went and circled back. I went and circled back the next day, and everybody was like, "So what happened to part 2? You guys left us." And yeah, it's all good. We haven't done this in a while, and I hadn't set you guys up correctly. I was so stone cold tired by that point that. All right, Joe, let me see if I can boost my volume here a little bit. I know when I switch to Skype, sometimes my voice gets kind of dim, so let me see if I can adjust some audio settings here. Audio. We'll try that, see if that works. Mic check. Okay, hopefully that'll be a little bit better. Okay. Yeah, keep talking there, Alex. I'm checking your levels here really quick.
Just working on Grimhold still. I guess, like, we came on last week for about 5 minutes. Once we realized that we hit the wrong button, and I kind of gave a quick Grimhold update on where he's at. He's really close to being complete. I mean, there's just a few little finishing touches I got to do, some body work maybe, but yeah, he's ready for the next phase probably after this stream, I think.
Cool. Just to answer a couple of quick questions in chat. Cola is our animator and our artist. He's the one that's like making everything look and move awesome. I do websites, some of the user interface, just try to handle the day-to-day biz, all that kind of crap. And then our boy Robert is the programmer, and I don't know, what do you think Dave does? I don't know, man. Dave's the pretty face of the project.
He's our development director.
There you go. That's a good. Nah, Dave's the man who's large and in charge. You guys all know him by now, so yeah. Yeah, guys. For those of you who haven't joined us in a little while, we've had a pretty massive update to our game here. Just this last week, we previewed it on our last Twitch broadcast, and the update went live Wednesday morning, and we followed up with a couple of quick updates that kind of addressed a lot of the bug fixes you guys gave us a quick heads up about in the forums and stuff. So very much thank you for that. And everybody really wanted to be here tonight. Robert is currently he was attempting to broadcast from a Nook HD because his main computer went on the fritz, and so he really wanted to join in tonight, but it's just no way it's going to happen. Although it may be possible. We're trying to rope Dave in. He's been on the phone with tech support because, of course, you guys know it by now that if it's a Gong Show on a Tuesday night, Dave will find it. And so that's he's currently, and this may be another one for the record books. He is saying that tech support is blaming a solar storm for knocking out his internet. So whatever that's worth. Have you ever a solar storm?
Well, when I last heard about solar storms was during the Mayan 2012 scare, right?
That's exactly right. That's right. That was going to be the end of the world, right?
Yeah. Instead.
Holy crap! We may be in business. Hang on here. Let me see. Yo. Okay, hang on. We may have Dave might have beaten the solar system or the solar storm. Hang on, I'm just going to pull Dave in. Dave doesn't know this yet, but he's about to get pulled in on this chat. So let's just see what kind of fun things happen. Connect. Come on, brother. You can do it. Come on, Dave. Pick up the phone. Or the thing. He's probably sitting on his headphones again, too.
Yeah, well, he's been known to leave his Skype on, so...
Well, he sent me a text saying, yo. Uh-oh. Dave, is that you?
It's me for about 5 minutes. Unfortunately, it looks like we're having an absolute literal shitstorm.
Dude, you have to give me you said, come on, man, a solar storm? The chat is like lighting you up, brother.
Oh, lighting me up. That's
yes, it's like the different excuse for how come you're not able to log in every week, and so everybody's all over you now. It's great.
Nah, man, it's the tech support guy that called me back 20 minutes later to tell me that everything's working fine here, but I got no Wi-Fi. I don't even know how this Skype call was working on my phone.
No, so wait a minute. Now, okay. Now, so you don't have Wi-Fi. Do you have like a computer you can connect to the actual internet, like with a cord?
Nope. I'm way too advanced for that.
Good Lord.
This makes no sense, man. All my equipment shows that I'm online and fine, but nothing is connecting Wi-Fi.
Well, it's the standard Pro Wrestling X Tuesday Night Gong Show, so.
I know it. So I'm gonna go do a hard reset on everything here and see if I can't just flush it out and bring it back up, man. 'Cause I was really looking forward to getting on tonight.
Oh, man. Dave, they're saying that you probably just have like 3G. There's a lot that said chat's getting to you. Solar Storm is a new one. Solar Flare would have been large enough that we could have.
I know, right?
Sorry. I'm just laughing at chat. They're killing me. Yeah, Sammy G suggests try turning it off and on again.
Yeah, that always works. I'll give it.
Oh, now we get to hear Dave's wife yell at him. This is great. This will be really cool. Everybody listen really closely, chat.
What doesn't make any sense to me is, how the hell are you talking to me?
Dude, that's what I don't understand. Is like you are online right now. I don't get it. You pinged me. Are you calling?
Well, you see, what's scaring me is that maybe I'm just using, my.
Or you're probably using your cell data.
Yeah, so this has already probably cost me $25.
Hey guys, do you want to run out with Dave's phone bill?
Yeah, really. God damn it.
It is the Twitch Gong Show, and that's okay. In fact, maybe I should start like retitling these internet broadcasts to just be, instead of Twitch Tuesday, just call it the Tuesday Night Gong Show and just see. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, Joe is like, Joe say, see, this is the guy actually leading the project. And so, yeah, it's like, yep, this is our fearless leader. Yeah, should I tell you that Dave's, I was going to tell you that Dave's responsible for IT, but I don't think even anybody else is going to buy that one. So,
Was Cola able to make it in yet?
Mr. Alex is in here, and I'm just talking over him because he's being shy.
Cool. Well, that's cool, man.
I think he's going to do some art here in a second.
Well, I want to try to get signed in properly so I can see everybody in chat and hopefully get some questions or something, man.
We're trying to get Robert in. Robert is literally trying to Skype from a Nook HD because his computer went kaplooey finally. We had last rights and everything, I guess, on it.
Yeah, I'm trying to I might actually go see if I can just score the Wi-Fi at the library or something.
Yeah, try sprinkling your computer with holy water. Although I think that's what got Robert in trouble in the first place, like with water. So
that could have been the problem. That could have been the problem, man.
The problem. That's
Well,
all
I'm
right.
gonna-
That's all right. Chad is forgiving. Chad understands. Chad has seen it before. So everybody's fired up about the new update. Everybody's cool. Everybody is probably sick of me watching me playing. In fact, I even gave up playing. I'm just letting the computer beat me up. It's not like you really can tell any difference, but I'm just letting everybody know
The
that I'm not
next
even this
cool
bad.
thing- The next cool thing that we're going to do, that we're talking about doing, I talked with Cola a bit just on email this afternoon about this, is we have to do a upper body submission hold next, right? Because we're going to do a submission, the lower body is going to be the sharpshooter. We need an upper body. So what Cola was thinking of doing is telling everybody what his top 3 or 4 choices were, nominate them, and maybe let our lovely supportive customers choose which upper body submission goes in next.
Hey, I got a potential bug report. Have you ever seen it when you go to stomp the guy and he does a 180?
No, that should
No.
be impossible. Yeah.
Okay, I'm
That's-
noting it. Is it?
Someone.
He turns
Someone
180. I don't think he
did-
faces down. I think he flips around. Is what I'm trying to reinterpret.
You know what?
Sleep
I
flips
was
horizontally,
wondering.
vertically.
Go ahead, Alex.
It might not be. It may be related, may not be. But I feel like I was playing it for a while yesterday, and I felt like the longer I played it, the more little bugs started to like pop up like that. Like little.
they keep-
How long have you been playing for?
You know what? And the longer we talk, the more unbelievable lag I'm getting, man. So I'm going to try to go and solve my Wi-Fi problem and hopefully join you properly.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out.
Sure.
Just hang up the phone and I'll just us it. I'll rope you in here. Just ping me again if the heavens part or something. You know,
I know.
solar
It's part-
flare.
that's
So,
right, you never know. All right, guys.
Solar
Well,
flare.
thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I'll try to get on here as soon as I can.
Okay, see ya.
Cheers. Bye.
Solar flare. I just come on, man. We'll have to we have to keep adding these kinds of things into the game somehow. Hey, do you want to, Alex? Do you want to fire up some art?
Yeah, man.
Because
I'm ready to go.
you can share your screen. We can maybe switch
Okay.
back to the game in a little bit here, but people are getting tired of watching me lose. I'll bet. So. Yeah, let me just fire up a screen share here, and I'll put that on here.
Well, I got to do that, right? Or no?
You just have to just share your screen with me on Skype, and we will be able to rock and roll. I think. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is the great technical. It's a well-oiled machine. So bear with us as we're getting this all set up here. A video game wrap up in chat. Yeah, downloading it. This is the latest update. The update that you will be downloading on Steam right now is what you just saw me play. Everything is up, latest and greatest. Yeah, we don't do the patch thing for those of you that remembered how to, for old school. We may have to figure that out if we start selling the game independently on some other. There's a lot of other places like Good Old Games or Itch.io or some of these other indie website or Humble Bundle, some of those places. And so we may have to figure out an update mechanism down the road. But as of everything right now, everything's channeled through Steam, and yeah, go from there. Ralph, hey, how come you guys removed the old UI menu? A, because I hated it, and B, we had to try to clean out some of the older code that was in there. We still want to do things like the language selection and all that kind of stuff, and it's going to return. In fact, we're probably, for the next big update, we'll probably have a full kind of refresh when it comes to some of that kind of stuff. So that all the localization, all the language selection, and all that stuff will definitely return. We didn't want to get bogged down in trying to rewrite some of that old code, because we were having trouble making it compatible with, like, the old code, making it compatible with the new code base. And so what I did is kind of just built a UI that was hopefully relatively language neutral, like you could figure out a play button and a quit and all that kind of stuff. It's not the greatest, but hopefully people are able to figure out how to play the game and everything. So yeah, Next big, the quote unquote the next big update should be ladder matches. Yeah, we're gonna get right on that. So we'll see. No, actually, I think the next big update, I think, is going to be submissions. I think that was the goal.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say the cage matches in the Kickstarter.
Yep, absolutely.
So that has to be our first gimmick match, just by.
And it's got to be it's got to no, I can't remember which one we actually kind of had working there, but whether it was the blue bar cage or if it was the actual mesh steel cage. But I know that blue bar's got to be in there at some point, which is awesome. It'd be awesome to see that back in a game.
Yeah, I think we might as well just go straight for that blue bar, because I'm thinking because a cage, like the small wire cage is so like when I'm talking about like climbing animations, like wire cage doesn't really matter where the hand and foot placement is.
Exactly right.
As the blue bar kind of does. So if we do the blue bar first, get it working there, and then jump over to the mesh cage, it should just work. Whereas going the other way around is a crapshoot. So
I totally hear you. I totally hear you. Are you? Did you try to share your screen with me? I'm sorry. Did I completely miss something here?
Yeah, I'm sharing.
Because I don't see anything just yet. Because I don't even see. Yeah, because I've got your chat window open, and I do not. Try sharing it again and see if you can. Maybe I just missed it. Sorry, gang. We're working on getting the kinks out here, but you'll be thankful because this stuff is. I do not see it. Do not know why I cannot see this. Hang on, let me see if I can. Oh, wait a minute. Hang on here. Let me see if I can pull you up in another window here. Aha! Aha! I have it. Okay. Let me see if I can get this rearranged here. Sorry, gang. It was operator error. Alex was doing everything correctly, and I'm a moron. So, stand by. I'm going to turn that off. Window capture. Okay. There we go. Much better.
So you got her going.
There you go. We have achieved technology. We're making it work now. I can't believe it took me this long, but we're getting kind of crappy resolution here. It was completely operator error. It was me. I was a dork. Hang on here. Let me. I'm going to do this again. And window capture. Just making sure that the faithful can see just how how technology savvy we are. I'm just trying to demonstrate that every week here. But we're in business now. Sweet. Yeah, gang, check out Grimhold. This is Alex. Why don't you introduce this? This is your baby here.
Yeah. So.
Because I think we do have I think we do actually have quite a few new people in here tonight. So.
What I was going to say was like a while ago we had a sort of a vote, a fan poll of what character they wanted to see, and. It was a tie between a new character and some old character whose name escapes me right now. I
think it was Dane. I think that's going way back.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
So I just decided to make a new character for the new game, and this is him so far.
Yeah, catching up on some Twitch questions. Will the PlayStation 4 controller work with the game? That's a very good question. If it's USB, it should work. We've had a little bit of trouble. Give you guys a little bit of background. Usually what we have designed the game around essentially the Xbox 360 controller. That's pretty much the default. When you have other key mappings and other key bindings, Sammy, I think you mentioned the ability of wanting to be able to like change key bindings and all that stuff. It's on the list. We have to make sure that we kind of take care of some of the low-hanging fruit first. Remapping controllers and detecting things like PlayStation controllers and all that stuff is surprisingly it's actually pretty difficult. The code base is not anything incredibly delicate, and so what we were trying to do is get the update out as quickly as possible, and then we'll try to circle back and get some of that stuff that takes a little bit longer and a little bit more intensive coding to try to get that working. So hang with us as long as you can here. We really appreciate it, but it's definitely on the list for sure. Did Cola add to the matte texture? I don't think you did the matte texture, did you? Or I mean, like you didn't adjust it for the new build, or did you?
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. I noticed it's very gray. So
that might have been our Robert. Robert is our lead. Yeah, Robert's our lead programmer, and he might have done something with the matte texture. So that's definitely something we'll circle around and double check for sure. How much longer until Grimhold makes it into the game? That is a very good question. We are probably going to have to get as much of the mechanics in place, make sure all of that is working correctly, and then we're probably going to have to circle around a little bit, because this guy is kind of a different type of character. In terms of the other two wrestlers are more, I don't want to call it similar in move sets, and this guy is more of a bruiser, more of a powerhouse. So we're going to have a few more moves animated for him. And anything else you can think of to add there, Alex? Like what else we would need to do in order to get this guy into the game?
Yeah. So what he needs is, I guess he doesn't need per se, but for the class of character that he'll be in is like he's sort of a tall class. So I wanted to do a tall idol, and we'd also need to do a tall walk cycle. What I mean by tall is just like he's standing a little taller. Like he's not. I mean he is physically going to be taller, but in order to really sell the scale, he's not going to have that shooter kind of idle stance that the other characters have. He's going to have more of an upright. You know what I'm talking about,
yes.
Eric?
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I think the if you look at Tyrador and Grasshopper, the two characters that are in, they're designed for more, like, again, more of like I would call a speed-based wrestler. Not that they're necessarily, I would call them lucha, but I always kind of imagine them, and you correct me if I'm wrong here, but they're about 6 feet tall, you know, kind of average build. They're not big Hulk, you know, big Hulk guys or anything like that, and they're more like speed and well-rounded grapplers. Whereas this guy is more like your big mastodon, the big, you know, not necessarily I wouldn't call him a super heavyweight like Vader, but you know, maybe more of a powerhouse like somebody like a Lesnar, or just somebody who's just like really, really well built,
Yeah.
and is not as agile but is like twice as powerful, kind of a deal.
Yeah, you got it. So I mean, he's gonna have some. I want him to have some height on him.
People are saying just give him Kevin Owens' moveset and you're good. Kevin Steen. And yeah, because they said a pop-up powerbomb would be perfect for this guy, and it got him hard-pressed to argue. And definitely, yeah, we got chat popping in that says he needs to have a choke slam. Absolutely.
Yeah, all that stuff for sure. The finisher I had in mind was kind of like an Awesome Bomb. If you remember Mike Awesome.
I sure do. Did that finish in a pinning combination like a Batista bomb? No, Batista was not a pinning at the end. I couldn't remember if Awesome's pinned.
No, his is more of like a throwing one. It was kind of.
Oh, right.
It was like, yeah, it was. I don't know. I guess it's similar to a Last Ride or something, right?
Yeah. Boy, there's about 1 billion different variations in that power bomb. Where you had the Last Ride was kind of like I would call a lifting power bomb, where he gets them up on the shoulders and then like lifts them with the tights, like he'll extend the arms and then drop them. Kevin Nash's version, like the jackknife, was just like a straight up and then like a straight drop because he was 7 feet tall. That was the executing. You have Batista bomb, which is kind of like a throwback and he's falling away from it. Vader put some oomph behind it. Like Rie would actually throw the guy down, and I think that's probably, and Awesome was very much the same way too. So yeah, I think
Just look up Mike Awesome power bombing like Spike Dudley.
Oh yeah, especially like when you do it through a table or something too, or like Tanaka, like when him and was it Masato Tanaka would have those knockdown dragouts.
Yeah.
And he'd dump those power bombs through the table outside and all that stuff. It was just wicked. So, more questions. When will we be able to select between the current characters? I would love for that to be relatively soon, because I think that would be a really, really cool thing to be able to start picking characters and all that stuff. The problem is I'm not the programmer, and so I don't know. I know, like, from a UI standpoint, like user interface standpoint, what would need to be done, but I don't know if, like, what would need to be done as far as the programming structure and all that stuff. Although anytime I say anything like that, Robert's like, yeah, that's no problem. I'll do it in like 5 minutes. So,
well, yeah.
Who knows?
If
Yeah.
that happens, then it'll be like a, he'll just have like something in the pause menu probably where you just toggle dudes.
Mhm.
It'd be nice to design that
Yep.
a character screen.
Absolutely, and you've got some mock-ups that I think are on the good start for all that stuff. And we've been. I mean, everybody who's been following the project for a while knows that we had plenty of free time there for a while while our programmer was busy trying to stay gainfully employed in a full-time job. And so we had lots of time to like mock things up and look at different things and post different YouTube videos of interfaces and all that stuff. So that's always said, it's fun to watch. There's a lot of different approaches we could take. Whereas, you have something like a Street Fighter approach or like a No Mercy approach. There's just lots of different ways to approach a character select, and we'll probably try a bunch of them before it's all said and done. So we'll see. Yeah, I always thought I could see this guy doing one of those over-the-shoulder backbreakers too. Not like a torture rack, but where the guy's like perpendicular to his shoulders. I would think that would be a pretty good submission for this guy too. Yeah. I got some suggestions for like a Master Lock Full Nelson type of a deal. So yeah, maybe we start opening up the fans and see if they have any suggestions. But yeah, that's going to be fun. It's fun watching. And for those of you who are new tonight, you can always go back and look at our old Twitch broadcasts on our YouTube channel. I think it's youtube.com/ProWrestlingXGame. It's where all these Twitch broadcasts are now archived, because Twitch only hangs on to them for like 10 days. But we've kept every one of them, and you can always go back and kind of catch up and see how the characters evolved over the course of the last 10 weeks. It's pretty cool to watch the character come up from the ground up. So it'll be awesome to finally see this guy in action. I can't wait to see it. So
yeah, we pretty much started from scratch on here. So
yep.
Yeah, it's kind of a fun watch, I guess, if you have time.
Yeah, if you got nothing else better to do.
Isn't really the best.
Some of our broadcasts have been pretty fun. We've had some pretty funny broadcasts and stuff like that. And so, like I said, none of us do this stuff is like, we're not trying to like be super pro and professional and have all the bells and whistles on the screen and all that stuff. We're really just trying to give you guys a glimpse of what we work on and what our personalities are like, and let you guys kind of ask questions and stuff, because it's sometimes very hard to try to do this stuff in forums or through email or any of that stuff. So yeah, we try to outline our vision as best we can with this stuff, and keep those questions coming. We've got Ralph with another question. Is the fourth character going to be a female? If not, when then will there be a female character? I have absolutely no idea where things are going beyond Grimhold. We have kind of our Kickstarter that we did back in April. We had finally, like in terms of our stretch goals, we had one extra character that kind of will complete our 1.0 version. How and when female wrestlers become a part of this, I have absolutely no idea at this point, but I can tell you this much, that female wrestling is incredibly important to like our crew. We're not, if you're expecting like bra and panty matches and all that kind of stuff, like go elsewhere, because we really get into like female wrestling, like the ones who are actual wrestlers and not just divas. So I think rolling out the next, like the female, she's going to be able to do every bit that the guys can, but the problem is with stuff like that is you have to do special art, special animations, all that kind of fun stuff. But I can tell you that we're up for the challenge, and we're excited about it because I think that's definitely something we're big believers in for sure. So working through, when will you guys feature back grappling? That is probably next after submissions. It's definitely part of our 1.0 build. If you guys go to our Steam page, I posted kind of a big update. In fact, I'll post a link to the link to it in our into our announcements here. Basically, I've given a public timeline, or like kind of the stuff that we're working on, and so you guys can actually see what our priorities are and what kind of things we're up to. Let me pull this open here. Let me see. I'll dig it up here pretty soon. It looks like the link got removed on our Steam page, so but I'll definitely get you guys a link to all that kind of stuff because it's kind of cool. We're using a service called Trello, and for those of you that have been following other video games, a lot of video games use Trello to kind of show off their public roadmap. It's kind of a neat way again to just kind of see what we're up to at any one moment here. Let me pull this up. Alex, you can you can feel free to jump in. I'm talking way too much here tonight. Poor chat. What kind of stuff are you working on here? What specifically are you trying to get the mask all set up here?
Well, yeah, it was paused for a while because I needed to. There's a few processes in this software that kind of just are guaranteed to either crash your PC or just bring it to a dead stop for about 5 minutes, but seems to have pulled out of it pretty well. So now I'm back to just detailing. I kind of want this to feel like embroidered leather or something like that.
That'd be a hell of a hot mask to wrestle on. That'd be hard to get air in there, but it sure looks badass.
Yeah, that's right, hey? Yeah, it's like you're being strangled the whole time.
Well, it's okay. We can suspend some disbelief, man. That's all right. It's a pro wrestling game, for crying out loud.
Oh, yeah. You'd probably sneak in some breathers in here, like in the skull.
King Leon, here's a question. What would it take to be a programmer for Pro Wrestling X? I know it runs on Unity, but like, what language have you guys chosen, etc.? And would you be willing to allow someone to come on to help for free? We're right now in really good shape in terms of development. We're good. Our boy Robert has been taking the bull by the horns and has just been like dominating it out. We're not to the point yet where we're able to take on any more programming help. We just don't. Part of this is when it comes to doing a wrestling game, programming is obviously one component of it, but another component obviously is what Alex is working on, is getting the animations built and getting the art assets prepped and all this kind of stuff. So we're rapidly coming up on a time where like that's where they're going to be some of the bottlenecks are, is we're going to, Robert's moving so quickly that we're having trouble staying ahead of the guy. So we wouldn't have enough work for like an extra programmer, even if you guys wanted to help for free. Believe me, the help is and the offer is greatly appreciated, but we're just not in a position yet to be able to really take on any more folks. But down the road, as this thing starts becoming more and more mature, we definitely want people modding the game. We definitely want people to be able to do whatever they want with it for the most part. So maybe instead of doing things like programming the game, is maybe you would be willing to kind of help out on a mod scene or kind of a thing. So but definitely stay in touch, man. I mean, who knows? We never say never when it comes to everybody that is currently on the crew is somebody that at some point came to Dave directly and said, please let me work on your game. So who am I to tell you that somewhere down the road we would, maybe take your email and, get ready to rock and roll. So, but it is funny that's how everybody landed. We've always had, in fact, really, really bad success, not bad success, but just people, anytime we've had to go out and hire somebody as like a coder for hire or an artist for hire, it hasn't worked out as well as the people that are coming to Dave directly and saying, hey, I got the passion, I got the energy, I got the time, please let me help. So, because that's how you found the project, right, Alex? Kind of, you pretty much begged Dave to like start taking your emails seriously, right?
Well, when I don't know. It was kind of weird. I don't know if I'd say begging, but
begging. I know. Yeah, I'm being metaphorical, but
I don't know. I saw a posting. I saw a job posting. He posted, and I responded to it. And then Dave. This was at the time. This was a few Christmases ago, and Dave was dealing with an ex-programmer, and I guess he had a lot on his plate at the time, and things. I mean, shit was just changing for the game. I think, like since he posted that.
Yep, that was a very
posting.
Yep, a lot of flux.
So anyway, well, I took a bit of initiative, and like when I applied through that posting, and I did an art test, and maybe I guess I could show it. I could show what I did.
Yeah, go for it. Oh, is that the one with all the ring mock-ups and all that stuff?
Well, that came about 6 months later.
Okay, because I remember he showed that to me for the very first, like when he showed me that, I was like, dude, why are you not like begging this guy to come work for us? I don't know. I don't know if I ever saw the original art test. Oh, this might be fun.
It was for animation. Well, let me just give me a sec. I'm searching here.
You're good. You're good.
I took the initiative and I did an animation art test because that's what the posting was for. And then I think it was, at least.
I think you're right, because I think at that time I think we were trying to brush up art ass. God, boy, that's a long time ago. My head hurts. Oh my God! Look at this thing. I have never seen this. Look at this.
And everything.
I have Oh, guys, you are in for a treat here. I have never seen this.
And the one pencil dude just kind of power bombs the other pencil dude.
Is it bad that I want this game now? Look at these guys. Dude, this has got to be like when you're modeling, like when I make it into the game, like you have to use these to start with, because my overall physical dimensions are not much beyond this. Dude, this is hilarious. I've never seen this.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
My God.
I put a lot. Well, I didn't put a lot, but I mean, I'm just remembering now that I actually like made a ring and everything. These are just free rigs. Right,
I recognize the base robot. I've seen that guy in a few other demos, but
oh yeah, you'll see him in tons of demos.
That is so great. I have never seen this. That is too hilarious.
Unfortunately, we can't just because it's a different rig altogether. We can't just throw that in the game. That power bomb.
Catching up on chat questions. Are all wrestlers going to be masked? No. In fact, I think the one after Grimhold was going to be our attempt to recreate Dane. I think along those lines, or at least somewhat, where actually have like facial. You'll be able to see all that stuff, because we have been. I'm going to insult Alex by saying cheating by putting masks on all these guys, but
yeah.
I think the mask looks awesome. So you'll get no arguments from me. But yeah, at some point we're definitely going to have some actual faces on there. Will you guys increase the walking speed of the game? It's kind of slow. Also, will we be able to stop running on our own after hitting the ropes? As of now, we can only stop on our own if we don't use the ropes. Second part of that question first, yes, we are fixing running and all that stuff. In fact, it may be fixed right now in the latest build. I can't remember what state it's in right now, but Alex was all over that on a bug report that he kind of went through an overhaul of the whole game himself, and that was one of the things that we're trying to figure out is nail down nail down running and get that perfected. It may already be working. I just don't remember off the top of my head whether or not that's the case right now. I can fire up the build.
You're supposed to be able to hit right bumper, but I haven't had that. I haven't been able to kind of like.
I think the current build has it. In fact, I'm firing it up right now, and just not broadcasting it. I'm firing it up right now. I thought that the current build was sorry.
Fight.
I thought the current build said that you would be able to hit the run button again, and that would get you to stop. But I'm going to try it right now on my current build here. Stand by. How is this guy pinning me already? Oh my god. Alex, I am so terrible at these games. This is so embarrassing. Okay, hits the ropes.
Well, yeah,
yes, none of the run button does not stop him. Let me try the other one here. Run away, run away, run away. Yeah, we're going to get on that. That's going to be one of our next fixes. Because we said Alex was all over that, and I agree. That's incredibly annoying, especially for as often as I retreat. I'd like to be able to stop. Because again,
even the fix that's in there, the right bumper is kind of.
It was not working for me.
It should be the,
yeah.
Yeah, it should be you tap the run button again, and then you'll stop.
I think
or even if you just flick the stick in the opposite direction, I think you might even, if I remember right, I think there's, if you kind of hold your, try to move in the opposite direction, you'll come to a stop as well. Be nice.
Yeah, I'll like I said, I think that's definitely a work in progress with some of that stuff, and so that's the thing that we're trying to figure all this stuff out. I mean, you can kind of design. I mean, I said we do our best to try to like nail this, as close as we can. But there are times when we're either going to guess wrong, or when Robert's implementing these things, sometimes he's taking initiative on his own because maybe he hasn't gotten the specific direction he needs from us, and he just kind of does like he picks a direction and. It's no offense to anybody. Sometimes you just guess wrong, and that's one of the things that is required. That's why we really like to hear your feedback, and then we do it internally as well to try to make sure that kind of everybody is signing off on all this stuff. We were trying really, really hard to kind of push the pace of getting out the updates and all that stuff, try to fix some of the glaring bugs. But we're going to try in the future to kind of really, make sure that everybody gets sign off and. Stuff like that run stuff should easily have been caught. So we're going to get on that. Redressing, kind of the other question, talking about increasing the walking speed of the game. This is also another thing that is going to be open for feedback too. Is, we need this kind of stuff. If we're getting a lot of comments about how the wrestlers feel slow or sluggish, then we can easily go in and start tweaking some of this kind of stuff. But and then we're going to try, look at this stuff on our own too and see. If we feel internally, hey, maybe these guys are moving a little slow and some of that kind of stuff. I know I thought the pickup animation was a little slow, but again, these things are just sometimes your individual. Yeah, that's exactly right. I was going to say, and they were all over it initially to try to repair that stuff. So,
so if you
go ahead.
If you guys are playing, I guess if we do change the speed and you guys are testing it out. Some things to look out for when you're testing the walk speed is the reason No Mercy's a little slow is because if everyone walked really fast, then evading grapples would be too easy. So if and when we change the walk speed, just try and offer some feedback on if you think grappling gets too easy, or if you think it's not worth it to try and use the evade button, right? Because the evade button is kind of like a quick dodge out of the way. It's kind of like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You're tight, and it's a way to get out of there. But if you're walking so fast that you never need to evade, then that we still need to maintain that use for that.
Well, and even you can take it to another level too. Thinking about okay, so how much then down the road when we have, 10, 12, 15 characters, do you start getting into a situation where each character has a separate walking speed, where like you have somebody like a Rey Mysterio type character versus like a Big Show type character? They're not going to move, at least in my mind. I can't see them moving at the same speed that way. Whereas, okay, Rey may be able to like, run around and evade the grapples really easily because, Big Show walks slower, but he's not going to nearly be able to like hit the kind of offense that if Big Show catches him and then drops the bomb on him. You know what I mean? So I think that's going to be the fun part, is when we start mixing in all these other characters too, is how does the fans, or how do the people playing it respond to maybe different walking speeds per character or something? I don't know. This is all going to be a work in progress. This is all, I mean, like I said, this is going to take us a long time to figure out and perfect, To
that point as well, Eric, like if our special systems isn't totally figured out yet, but if you play No Mercy, when you have a special, your character, he walks a little faster, he grapples a little faster.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything is dialed up just a little bit. So imagine everybody is sped up by 10%, and then Rey Mysterio type character, he's also got an extra 10%, and then he goes into special mode, and he's just booking, flying it around the ring. So you want to leave a little bit of breathing room for that. That said, I mean, we can't test it until we have all those variables, really. So it's like we're kind of just throwing sticks here until we can kind of compare all those variables as well, and then see, like, you know what I mean, Eric? Until we have something to compare, like, we're just kind of guessing.
Well, and that's the nature of some of this stuff. Is it's not some. I always view these things as like, they're not really video games. They're like organic creatures. They're going to grow and change in ways that we can't really predict yet, because, like I said, it's trial and error. We until you get the code and until you start playing these things, you don't really know. I mean, No Mercy was an evolution of what, 2 or 3 video games, maybe even more, probably more.
For sure.
And each time the programming team would make it work a little bit better and refine all that stuff. And we've been at this for a while in theory. We've been at this for like 12 years, but a lot of our work has all been like philosophical. You know what I mean? Like, it's all like dreaming, and it's all trying to imagine the perfect wrestling game. And now that we actually have the programmability, and Robert is adding so much, because one of the big differences with Robert versus our older programmers, that Robert knows these video games inside out too. And so when we tell him things like, hey, let's make it work like No Mercy, there are so many things that he already knows that we don't even have to explain it to him. And so he's adding his flavor to the game too, in terms of how to, in fact, specials we're not even planning on, supposed to be in there, but now that we've got them in, it's like, hey, this isn't so bad, but now how can we take this specials mechanism and maybe make it a little bit more unique to our game? And so we're just going to kind of keep at this. That's all we really can do. And we've always said that the fans have a voice in this stuff too. So by all means, if you think things are slow, tell us. If you think things are too fast, in fact, we got a lot of people here saying, "Holy shit, I can't beat the AI." Hey, get in line, pal. I can't beat them either. I'm completely terrible at this game. But that's kind of what we're trying to figure out. Is okay. So what makes a good AI opponent? What kinds of things? Do people like the difficulty? Do people hate it? So this is all. It's all trial and error when it comes to this stuff, and so we're probably going to break a few eggs along the way, but just kind of keep at it. Like I said, we're always changing this thing based on your feedback and based on our testing. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I mean, look how much the game has even changed here in the last month, even like the last 3 weeks. It's been insane. Anybody who's been joining us on our Twitch channel, you've seen the pretty dramatic evolution of our game, even just over the course of the last month. So it's going to be fun to see, 3 months, 6 months, knock on wood. I probably shouldn't say that, but let's hope we're keeping the same pace.
Yeah.
We are Spinal
It's
Tap
certainly
after
been-
all.
Yeah, it's certainly been nice to work at this pace, where I make something and it's in the game within a couple days. That's kind of,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Well, and it's rare. Ask anybody who bought Batman, the new Batman game here. They're saying it's almost unplayable. The people who like pre-released and like got it all downloaded last night. And even like I don't know that much about it, but I was reading reports that even like the video card developers are both saying like the game is fundamentally broken in so many areas. This is the video card manufacturers. So there's a lot of there's a lot of people that are saying, hey, this is why Steam put in the refund mechanism, so that these guys wouldn't just be able to say, hey, thanks for your $60.
Yeah.
Sorry, the game isn't working for a little while. Hang in there,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we got some good conversations going in chat. These are all great suggestions, and it's definitely something that we're definitely looking at in terms of adjusting the ability for AI, or as characters, again, as we add more characters to the game, they're all going to have different levels of aggressiveness. That's, for me, that's the single biggest thing that I am most excited about, like coming down the road. We're going to probably get there for quite a while, but started getting into like the stats of Pro Wrestling X in terms of
Yeah.
all the different characteristics of a particular wrestler. I cannot wait to start diving in. I'm a total stat nerd when it comes to that kind of stuff, and so I'm super excited when we're finally going to be able to kind of get some of that stuff, as long as, not even from a creative wrestler standpoint, but even just, like I said, getting all the attributes and figuring out, the fighting spirit and health and, just all the fun stuff that can shape a wrestler. I think that is the coolest stuff, and I cannot wait to dive into all that stuff. So maybe a while before we get there. We said we got to get them. We got to get running working correctly first, but we're excited for it. So, is countering still in the game in the newest build? I wasn't able to get it to work for some reason. There's no countering per se. What we've got working kind of well, and I'm going to put that in air quotes because there's some debate even amongst our crew, how much, but you are able to, like, is it like parry, where you're able to kind of like slap away a grapple attempt, and then you're also able to block a strike, but some of that is a little bit more timing based, and that's kind of been an internal debate amongst the crew, is how to resolve, like something like a Fire Pro system where everything is timing based, that you've got to, if you want to be able to do a certain bit of functionality, you've got to time it correctly. So therefore there's more challenge, it's more interesting, you learning how to play the game, all that stuff, versus somebody who's more like a casual gamer, where you just kind of like be able to pick up and button mash and block all you want and parry all you want. I can tell you my own personal opinion is the latter. I do not do well at the timing-based games. They drive me bananas. But I respect the other side of it, and so we're just trying to figure out what that balance is. So yes, you can parry, but I've never successfully done it. How's that?
Oh, really?
Robert's got the timing down, I guess. He says he can do it every time.
Yeah, dude. I can. I'm pretty sure I can beat this. I'm usually checking for
Yeah.
bugs and assessing the just art things, whatever. But I'm pretty sure I can beat that guy.
Well, and that's what's kind of cool about our crew, is we've got kind of all spectrums of wrestling gamers represented, whereas Alex is probably more like, and probably even Robert to an extent, like they're more like they really know the ins and outs, really know the technical details, and really look at the minutia. Like they catch stuff that I have, like they go so fast over my head that I don't even notice them. But those two are like completely all over it. Dave is probably somewhere in the middle, where he's, like I said, really, really well versed all across the board, but he doesn't consider himself necessarily to be like gets into the minutia. He knows a lot about a lot of the different games, but there are people that can just kick his ass too. And I'm at the end of, I'm a casual gamer. I always play these games for fun. I never like really tried to master them. It was more about kind of the overall experience and being able to beat the crap out of Scotty 2 Hottie. That was like a big, big moment of my weekend, was to just like sit down and just like, hey, you know what? I need to turn the brain off for a little bit and just, kick the crap out of somebody trying to do the worm. That is not going to happen. So it was him and X-Pac usually were the two in tag team mode. And me and my brother would play co-op, where we weren't going against each other. We were just like, hey, let's go see all the fun things we can do to Scotty 2 Hottie and how many tables we can put him through and all that kind of fun stuff. So for me, like, I'm casual guy, and so I'm going to have a completely different reaction to a lot of these builds than somebody like Alex will. And so that's what's kind of go for it.
Being casual guy, like what game had your favorite reversals? What was your favorite? Who do you think handled reversals the best? Because generally, like, the casual players can do pretty much everything except for they may have a tough time reversing moves. So which game do you?
For me, the gold standard. For me, the gold standard has always been No Mercy. Just the ease of being able to play that game and then it was more of a, I don't want to call it, it's not fair to call it a button masher, but again, if I wanted to block, I'd hit block. If I wanted to parry, I'd hit parry, and I would just end up sitting there hammering the shoulder buttons as best I could to try to get the blocks and all that stuff to work. I was not the greatest, but again, you have to remember again too that I did play through a lot of the single player modes, and I would try to do the battle royals and all that kind of stuff, and that was fun, but reversals and all that, like, it never really came to that, because you just would start kicking the crap out of the guy, pick him up, kick the crap out of him, pick him up. And so it was never really, I don't call that much of a challenge. But I find, like I said, some of the other ones, to this day, I love everything about Fire Pro except being able to play it. I love the stats. I love how that game looks. I love all the options. Again, being a stat freak, the amount of customization, I love everything about that game except actually sitting down and playing it. I will literally sit and watch the simmed matches. I've done that before, where I'll just like watch a 16-man tournament and just have everybody play computer and just watch it that way. Because again, I love the art, I love the style, I love the camera angle, I love the stats, but I get the hell if I could ever play that game, because I could never get the timing and the grapple down. And I would get so fed up with it that I would just be like, screw this, I'm done. So for me, No Mercy was always kind of the gold standard when it came to wrestling games. So I don't know, man. Did that answer your question? Probably a little bit.
Yeah, kind of, I guess.
Because I said, I think we had similar, in terms of like wanting to be able to block whenever you wanted, that kind of stuff. It seemed like we were on kind of the same wavelength there. And this is all just internal debates,
Well, I think you should be able to turtle, because I don't know, I think a skilled player will be able to get around it anyways.
Well, you talked about, you can turtle, but you can still be, you can turtle, like if you're talking about a block, and still be grappled, or you could try to parry and still be hit, with a strike. And so so there was kind of a, I don't want to call it a rock paper scissors action, but it's similar to that, where you have it's basically rock paper. And so I always thought that, again, it was simple to pick up, but you could definitely see a lot of the nuance the more that you played it with that kind of stuff. So that's always where I kind of fell. Is I always, like I said, for me, I want things to be nice and easy and just be able to have fun with the game, but I may be not necessarily, like I don't know where people are when it comes to that kind of stuff. If people want more of a challenge, I suspect our smartest option would just be having a difficulty setting where where something super, like if you put it on a hard mode, your timing, you have such a small one, like you actually do have to nail it, whereas you have like more of a normal mode that either removes the timing window altogether or just like opens it up a little bit more so it's not so hard. I don't know.
That's a good idea. That might be a good idea, is like on instead of just like, I think most games would, on easy mode, the opponent just doesn't attack you as much. So
right.
It's just it's easier that way. But if we so maybe the like you said, the window of opportunity to time that stuff is like increased as it gets easier, you know, so that like you know, anybody, you know, people are having an easier time parrying. I guess it may get too defensive of a game, but if you're playing against the computer, who cares, right?
Well, like I said, we've always tried to, I mean, our philosophy has always kind of been, I don't know, like just like let people have the wrestling game experience that they want. And so if something is easy in terms of a toggle or a level of difficulty or something that allows them to have the game experience that they want, if it's easy to do, screw it, let's do it. I mean, how many you know, Dave said this in many channels, you know, in this channel here before, where he's just like, hey, you know, if we can't make a decision, why don't we just make it a switch and let the gamer decide for themselves, you know? Because everybody's got a different take when it comes to these wrestling games, and it's kind of a difficult balance to cater to the beginning player and somebody who's played the game for 6 months, a year, 2 years, all that kind of stuff. So that's hard. And so to me, I think the overall philosophy of the project has always been to let people have the wrestling game experience that they want. And like I said, if it's not a hard thing for us to do, screw it. Let them choose how they want to set up the game, and hey, go for it. You know, I never felt comfortable locking people into a certain way of playing. Because I mean, I understand. Yeah, go ahead, Alex.
Where that comes from is, you know, it's like kind of. Some people would call it lazy game design, because you're not really solving any problems. You're just giving them to you know,
you're passing the buck, right?
Yeah, there you go.
In theory, but I mean, I don't agree, but I see what you're saying.
I feel the same way as you, though. I think as long as the game is if it's just a single player game, you know, I think you really have to set the rules if you're going to have ranked play, you know, like online kind of play, like a Street Fighter game, or, you know, a racing game where you're playing against other people and, you know, their rankings are on the line. You can't be willy-nilly with the rules. But if somebody is just having fun with their buds, you know, look at, have you ever played Towerfall?
No, but I've heard of it. I've never played it, but I've heard of it.
It's like a 2D indie, like arena beat 'em up. Not beat 'em up. It's a archery shooting game.
Oh yeah,
anyway,
cool. Okay.
The amount of customization in that game is just unreal. You know, it's like you just for days you can customize anything. There's so many options in there.
That's to me. Yeah, I think that's because I see exactly what you're saying, and I was actually going to follow up with that. That you said, you know, it is lazy game design where you're like. You're not solving the problems. You're just like kind of passing that on. But I totally see that. And I think there's kind of a line that we have to draw where we have to pick a direction overall. That's kind of our vision, I guess, of what the wrestling game should be. But I think part of that vision, like something like, you know, like I said, something like a blocking and all that kind of mechanism, that can be a pretty big. You know, like I said, when they talk about comparing wrestling games, that's one of the things that they talk about is, again, the timing-based stuff. And so how do you categorize your game if you let both happen? You know what I mean? But I don't know. I said it's an interesting debate nonetheless. And I said we're certainly not going to answer it overnight, but we'll get there. We're going to get there. Because I firmly believe this, and anybody who knows... you know, who's been hanging out in our chat a while, is that we've got the expertise on, you know, in our crew. Like, we've got lots of different takes and lots of opinions and lots of knowledge. And so if we put our heads together, I think we're going to come up with something pretty cool. So hang with us and definitely keep us in that feedback. That's really, really important. So catching up with chat comments. I love that the CPU actually utilized top rope and other high-flying moves. Stay tuned. That's part of our 1.0 build. Because everybody who's been in the chat before, that is my that is 90% of my No Mercy offense is just running to the top rope and trying to hit top rope moves, and then the other 10% is like the nut shot. That's my No Mercy offense right there. So
Yeah,
I am dying for top rope moves.
Between one of these updates, I'm gonna sneak in that nut shot.
We're gonna have to go look and see if we have a good bell sound. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to beat the CPU until I get the nut shot. That's it's gonna be a big part of my repertoire there. So yeah, stay tuned. Yeah, stay tuned there.
I don't think you could even reverse the nut shot, right?
You could block it. You could block it. It wouldn't look right because you know how the block where they put their hands above their head, but that still served. Yeah, it still served as a block though because I tried and it would block me a lot of times. The jerk.
Yeah.
And then they do something like grab my hand and start throwing me around with something else. But you know what can you do? It's what I deserved for being such a terrible player. When do you think we could start seeing weapons? Weapons probably going to be a little bit. One of our goals was to just kind of really round out that grapple system and make sure we're good there. Weapons are part of our Kickstarter deliverables, so they are going to come, down the road. What's that?
I didn't remember. I didn't realize. We did that
I believe weapons was our first tier that we crossed. I think it's been a little while, but I think because I remember.
I think you're right, because we were gonna do like baseball bats and kendo sticks and stuff.
That's right. That's right. Because I remember you made up. I remember you made up a bunch of really custom graphics, and we turned that into a little splash image or something for our Kickstarter. Because I think that we hit 3 stretch goals. I think one was weapons. I think one was the third character, and one was the blue bar steel cage. I can't remember what order those were in. But weapons are. I mean, come on, weapons have to be part of a wrestling game. We're all well versed. We know steel chairs and baseball bats and all that kind of fun stuff. But there's a lot more to it than that because you not only have to get into you've got the assets and everything already modeled, but then you have to like figure out how to hook him into the character. How does he get the weapons? All that kind of fun stuff. Have some animations in order to be able to pick up said weapon. So there's a little bit of work there, but we're definitely going to get there for sure. What about submissions? That's one of the things we're working on next. For those of you that have been kind of joining us, we've got a Facebook post the last couple of days. You've been seeing the in progress of the animations of the sharpshooter, which is going to be pretty tight. So, and it's looking good. He's sinking it in, man. He's sinking it in. He's dropping deep on that thing, and this is no Lion Tamer or like the Rock sharpshooter. This is the full blown Bret the Hitman Hart. Lean it in deep. It's pretty great.
Yeah, he really sunk down on people, man. More than even Sting was kind of upright.
Yep, he was. He was. Well, think about it. I mean, it's got to be. Yeah, it's gonna suck being the guy receiving that, but it takes a lot of strength to like kind of hold your body weight and his body weight up when you're leaning back like that. I mean, the quads must be like killing there. What else? Thank you guys. We're getting a lot of tremendous feedback, which is awesome. A lot of us, everybody's really happy with. I haven't seen anything in here that is like, hey, you guys suck. Our chat have been very nice. We haven't had any like trolls or anything. Don't you guys start now? That's not an invitation. But yeah, everybody's pretty fired up, and it's nice to be able to deliver stuff to you guys now. It was hard times there for a little while, but it's exciting to be able to see this come together. And said our boy Robert has been. I said I'm going to put him over again. He's been busting his butt big time, trying to get these things out the door, and he's been active in the forum posts, like checking out all your feedback. And somebody will say, "Hey, something's busted," and he'll go in and have a fix ready in like 10 minutes. And
he's good about picking bugs out of there. So if you guys see some stuff, just post it in the Steam forums.
Yep, absolutely.
And, there's a good chance it'll get addressed right away.
Yep. And even if you just see something that doesn't, like, if it's like, things like, hey, the guys are walking too small, that's totally cool. we're paying attention, we're reading them, and so you know we can have our opinions as a crew. But we're also listening to you guys. You guys definitely have a voice when it comes to this stuff. Oh, great! They're all saying that I suck now because I told them to. Like, I told them they were being too nice, and so now they're all jamming me. So okay, I deserved that. Fair enough. That's all right. I would expect nothing less. That's fine. But yeah, keep the questions coming. I've got probably another 10 minutes in me at the most. I'm getting tired. I'm on the East Coast, and it's a long day of work, and then I have to do a bunch of stuff at night, and then I have to sit down at 10 o'clock and start rolling out a broadcast. So I hit the wall fast, but it's fun watching you groove on this character, though, man. This is I don't want to call it meditative for me, but this is pretty chill. I like this.
Yeah, I'm getting into the nitty-gritty here now. Starting to see the leather patterns and stuff.
See, this is what I'm talking. See, you guys, you know, this is the kind of level of craftsmanship you're dealing with here, man. This is why you can put your trust in us here, because it said that people it said I am amazed the stuff that these guys come up with in terms of not only level of detail but the things that they spot. I do my best, but I can't hang at a certain level. There's just stuff that it's all magic to me. And so the instant, I mean, I said, I'm a Nintendo kid. I grew up, the very first wrestling game I ever played was Pro Wrestling for the Nintendo Entertainment System. There's like, I don't know if there's like, this is just like an age thing or what, but for me, there's a suspension of disbelief anytime I hit a start button that unless the error is really obnoxious, like I'm along for the ride no matter what. Like I don't really nitpick and I don't really stress out about it, like some of the little details. All I care about is having fun. And I don't know if that's like an age thing or what, but it's like I said, for me, I'm used to playing all those old Nintendo games where things were glitchy and clippy and all that stuff. And so if I see them in a new game, it doesn't really offend me that much. But these guys are all over it when it comes to that level of quality, so that's awesome.
Well, you've been doing pretty well too. I'm glad you've been getting in on doing the front end, picking up some slack there.
Yeah, I'm trying. It's a tag team. Alex fed me the concept of what you're seeing on that splash screen in terms of found himself a really cool texture for kind of a Spark background. One of the things we've been talking about doing is actually kind of every time we have a major release is actually kind of giving you guys a new look and all that kind of stuff, just because it keeps us, I don't know, I don't want to say like creatively stimulated, but so much of this game is just like programming that it's kind of nice to have different angles and different art requirements. And it's something, like I said, it's something that I can actually do. I can do a little bit of programming when it comes to the user interface and all that kind of stuff, and that's what I'm good at. That's what I do all day, is UI for essentially websites. So it's a chance where I can actually kind of contribute a little bit and feel like I'm not just like web dork or social media guy, that I can actually get in and kind of keep experiences going. And they may not be the most awesome, but that's going to improve over time too as we all get better with this stuff too. So will you guys eventually have an atomic leg drop, ultimate splash, and flying elbow drop? Yes, we're all about more and more moves. I said it's just a matter of time and energy. That's one of the things. That's why we're trying so hard to perfect the base and the core mechanics, because once we have that stuff down and working perfectly, adding moves to the game are not difficult. It's difficult in the sense that Alex has to go in and animate all those things, but the sheer mechanics of just adding them to the game is not incredibly difficult. Sometimes it takes a little while to like fine tune them and polish them up so that they kind of work within the end, the starts and the stops of the grapple and all that stuff. But we're dying to jam on moves because that's where the fun's really going to happen. So I would say any move that you can think of, the answer is yes, except for the worm. That is permanently banned. I've already declared it, so it's never going to happen. So don't even bother. That's going to have to be a mod. Any tips for UI UX design? I'm an aspiring UI UX designer for websites. Dude,
Do
practice, 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 practice. Nobody is born with this stuff. I don't care. You've got some people that are really talented artists and all that stuff, but it's all about practice. It's all about testing. Like, watch people use the stuff that you build. Like, literally watch them over their shoulder. And there's even software that can help you with eye tracking and all that fun stuff. That's what the big boys do when it comes to websites and all that stuff. And there's nothing more terrifying than releasing a website into the wild and then asking your friend to, like, use the website while you watch them and just hope to God that they find everything that you think and operate the thing that in the way that you think it should be done. So definitely study trends. There's lots of good websites out there, but ultimately you got to get your hands dirty and start breaking some eggs, because nobody's just like born with that innate sense of being able to just do it out of their heads. Anything you want to add there?
That career path is like super in demand. There's job postings at least in video games all the time, literally all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like every time I look for a job, I see one, and it's.
Keep trying to drag Alex to Kalamazoo in my neck of the woods. We got that.
I got a funny story about that, but we'll talk.
Okay, fair
later,
enough.
But user interface design it's also really hard to find information on, like tutorials and stuff. Like game art is pretty easy. Like doing the stuff I'm doing here, it's pretty easy to find tutorials on how to get started and stuff. But as far as like I've tried to find some interface to design kind of theory videos, and it's not easy.
Well, and the other thing that is, when you're talking about UX, UI, whatever, user experience, user interface, the terms are kind of sometimes like used synonymously, but like there's two different components. There's the principles that you're trying to do, like where things are positioned on the screen, how things are balanced, having buttons kind of in the same locations, all that stuff that goes on subliminally that you don't really, as a game developer, they always said, like, if you're a good UA, a user interface guy, nobody's paying attention to the user interface. Like, it's actually the best interface is one that's essentially invisible, because you're just so busy just using it that you're not paying attention. So it just feels natural. You're able to click buttons. You're able to find options. The flip side of that is, how do you make it look cool? Like with, I'm going to use terms like bevels and sharp, all these things that make a user interface, quote unquote, look cool. So it's kind of two different components. There's the whole, building like a scaffolding that that allows the foundation of your game to work, and then there's like the window dressing that takes that structure and makes it look awesome. And that stuff can be hard. There's some really, really good books out there in terms of like web design. So even if you're thinking about like becoming a UI developer for like a video game, there's some good stuff out there for web development. There's some really, really really smart voices out there, and those same principles can apply to like a video game world. Now when it comes to the art, that is you need people that kind of have both. I said I can't really. That's why Alex and I think work kind of well as a team, because I do the structure and the principles, and he's really good at coming up with like looks of things, textures, colors, just things that kind of take that foundation and make it tighter. You know what I'm saying? So I think you kind of have to. It's very hard to be good at both, I think, because I think it's two different approaches.
Guys have to kind of be. You have to be a decent illustrator if you're going to be doing it for games a lot of the time. I think that's probably even more valued than super solid layout design, like maybe in web development where the layout design is a little more important. So,
well, it's still though. You weren't born. I mean, you probably have some innate skills when it comes to the art, but you've put in your hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can tell. Because anybody who's watching you monitor the software, and it's not even necessarily about being the software, because something tells me I could hand you a pen and a blank piece of paper and you'd probably do all right too. At least, you know, you may be a little bit out of practice when it comes to that stuff, but you know, do not discount just the amount of what is it there with that one book that's just said you can become an expert in anything with 10,000 hours, and so you got to get your 10,000 hours in. And so that I think is, and that's something that me personally, like in my personal life, I'm trying to get my drawing skills back. I miss that. I don't draw anymore, and I don't do art for fun. All my stuff is art for a career, and I'm worried about, you know, so again, I'm worried about user interface, exploring all that kind of fun stuff. And I miss doing what Alex is doing, where you're doing art. And so if you guys are interested, do you have a portfolio for UI UX? I would look at a website called Dribbble. It's Dribbble with 3 B's. That is where all the user interface nerds hang out. That's the web designers, graphic designers, UI guys, all that kind of fun stuff. That's where all those nerds hang out at. And there's some really, really cool stuff. In fact, I'll post a link here so you guys can see it. I would show you my stuff, but my portfolio I've got what they call cobbler syndrome, where I'm too busy with everybody else's work that I haven't updated my website in a long time, so shame on me. I can confirm that I am using a PS4 controller and works with the game with USB. So there you go. That's why I didn't think we had to download. See, I know Mike was pretty thoroughly convinced that we had to install like these pretty extravagant game libraries for some of this stuff, and maybe you still do, but I thought a lot of this stuff worked out of the box. So,
are you on a Mac?
And on the Mac side of things, there's a bit of freeware that allows you to remap a USB controller to any key you want, and if you install that first, you do not need any custom drivers to get the game to work on a Mac. We've had a question about that. Mac is coming. We've been so busy trying to get the PC version fit and set, ready to go. I'm going to try to talk to Robert about rolling out a Mac build just for testing, because there's a lot of Mac folks that have been asking and have got, have keys and backed us on Kickstarter and all that stuff, expecting Mac support. And I agree. I'm with you. I'm a Mac guy. I've got both PC and Mac, and so I'd like to be able to play that thing on a Mac too. So hang in there. We're going to get those bugs worked out too. So anything else you want to add here, Alex? I am ready to wrap.
Ready to go? I don't know, man. Yeah.
If there's any final questions in chat, fire them right now, and I'll hang out for the next couple of minutes here. But
how many people are in the chat right now?
We've had up to 20. We got about 15. That's usually about our usual. We got usually between 15 and 20. Which is okay. This is the chats are productive. Everything's good, and people are watching them after the fact, which is kind of cool too. Yeah. So this is as much for
these things, like any of Dave Horn's, videos. I'll usually I don't know if he even does them live. Now that I think of it,
probably not. They're probably just like video podcasts or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Can we see Running Moves next update? I can't promise Running Moves will be there. We're trying to kind of do first submissions, then like back grapples, but
with a testicle shot peppered in
there.
Then
and potentially the No Mercy ding nut shot. I cannot promise any of these things, but yeah.
Well, I think Irish whipping was kind of, since we have running, you can run, but you can't really do anything, which is where kind of I guess he's getting at with the running attacks. Yeah, I don't know. That's a big can of worms.
Yeah, but it's on the list, man. It's not anything we're going to forget about. They're definitely on the list for sure.
Doing a running attack would kind of be, I mean, if I did one, you'd be able to, you'd be implemented right, like you could implement it right away. You wouldn't have to. There's nothing else waiting on it. There's no blockers, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas an Irish whip kind of has blockers.
Yep.
because
And these are all mechanics that we still have to kind of figure out and get all those things working. So, but hang in there. We're gonna get there. We've got another question. Is the current version of the game alpha or beta? And then I don't even know how to answer that. Technically, the legal term is early access.
yeah, it'd be a kind of a pre-alpha, I would think.
Yeah, I feel comfortable calling it. Actually, I feel comfortable calling it a late stage alpha, to be honest with you, because we've got a lot of the base mechanics working in pretty decent shape. They're just not. We're just not all the way there. We've been kind of
a beta, generally a beta is the game is finished, but we're just bug fixing.
Right.
And alpha is more of a constructive phase.
That's fair.
So,
that's fair. It's hard to say. The not to get too much into semantics, but the 1.0 that we're shooting for, the 1.0 that we're shooting for, is everything that we promised in our Kickstarter deliverables. And you can kind of run through those yourself. I mean, I know. Even the 1.0 is still a very small wrestling game when you compare it to something like the No Mercy, or even like what WWE is rolling out, all that stuff. That's totally cool, but it's going to take us years to get up to that level with all that amount of content, all that level of customization, create a wrestler, all that stuff. And so what we're calling 1.0 is kind of that base core game that was promised on Kickstarter. And so is it going to be the end all be all at 1.0? God, no. But that's where we're going to kind of make the break from this early access, alpha, beta, whatever terms we're using. And then from there on out, it's just updating the base game. So if that kind of helps kind of give you a feel, or like kind of way to wrap your head around it, that's how we're wrapping our heads around it. Because like I said, once we hit that 1.0, then we can really start expanding the game and actually kind of take it and call it an actual game instead of do this early access stuff. Because that's ultimately the day that we graduate essentially to the big boys, where we're not just in early access anymore. So I don't know if I answered your question or not, or if I answered it satisfactorily, but it may not be the best answer, but that is kind of what we're considering 1.0. So, but like I said, this thing will always be a work in progress. Just like we've been talking about, everything that you guys are asking for in terms of functionality, it's all going to be considered, and it's all going to come eventually down the road. But it's just, there has to be a certain point at which we make the break and say, okay, is this a real big boy game versus just this early access construction phase. So any plans for a mode similar to Universe mode, where the game would generate random schedules, title matches, no cuts? Hey, all of this is awesome down the road. We're just not there yet. But I am a big fan of randomization in games and like procedural generation. A lot of the games that I play are like these roguelike games that are completely different every time that you play them, and I would love to try to figure out a way to get some of that kind of randomization into Pro Wrestling X, but that's way down the road.
I think it would be cool to take that roguelike philosophy and maybe apply it to like arenas, right? So that these arenas kind of have like a random catacomb to them.
Absolutely.
When you get backstage or something like that.
Well, and even, I mean, the thing that I always really liked about those roguelikes, anybody who's been listening to this channel long enough has been known that where I talk about the game Binding of Isaac. Never start playing this game if you ever want to be productive with your life ever again. But that is all randomization, and it's generated every time you play it. But what's kind of cool is if you get done with a really, really fun run, they will have like an eight character key that is like the code for that particular set of randomization. So that if you have like a really, really fun run with a lot of fun power-ups and all that stuff, you can then upload it to the community and people can play the same run that you did. And so that way, if you did if we did that with Pro Wrestling X, and you did some kind of really, really cool random arena, there would be. I would love to have a mechanism by which you could then share that same experience with other people. You know what I'm saying? So. So again, in the Trello roadmap, once all those things are complete, that's a 1.0, right? Yep. If you see Sammy in that Trello board, you'll see certain items are marked with colors. Some of them ones that are marked with like orange and yellow and all that stuff, those are what's considered 1.0. And then anything that doesn't have a color is all kind of future development, but we're not like forgetting it. So that you guys can see too that where the light at the end of the tunnel is in terms of all the stuff, because there's a hell of a lot that goes into a wrestling game when you really sit down and lay it all out on paper. Just little things like being able to exit the ring and hang out on the apron, being able to do tag matches, being able to jump from outside of the ring to into the ring and vice versa. All these little things. And so a while ago, I put together like this monster list of everything that's got to go, and we compared that to what we promised on Kickstarter, and like I said, you'll see what's going to be delivered for 1.0, and then what's going to be coming down the road. So hope that answers your question. Anything else you want to add here, Alex? Because
no, you're doing great.
We're at almost 1 hour and 45 minutes tonight. I wasn't planning on going this long. And that's without even like Dave and his solar flares. Somebody else actually looked it up in chat and said he wasn't lying, that other people were experiencing the same thing too. So we've got, let's see, we've got, okay, anytime we customize Dave now, we've already had the list. We have to give him the cyst named Trish Stratus, or Cyst Stratus. We've got, he has to have some kind of a move called the solar flare. God, what else? What else was the stuff? He's got to have like a bionic leg, all that stuff. How many match types are going into 1.0? It depends on how you define a match type. It's going to be pretty much single-player exhibition, and maybe like two-player local. We had that working in an earlier version, and we got to do some experiments to get that working again. But in terms of like fire matches and scaffold matches and all this kind of stuff, it's not going to be quite for 1.0. The 1.0 that we're shooting for is to get that cage up and running, and I think that'll be the only real, what I would call a special match mode at that point. But who knows? Oh yeah, we have to work the word jam tart in there some too, according to chat. So running attacks may end up being 1.0 if it's relatively easy to do. But like I said, I think right now we're trying to kind of put things in order of priority, and I think submissions and back grapples are definitely taking the and like climbing the ropes and all that, like top rope moves and all that stuff. So, but they're getting there, man. They're getting there. As soon as we perfect running and Irish whips and all that stuff, I mean, Irish whips have to be part of the game somehow. So you're gonna have to have some kind of running attack. So.
Yeah, running attacks. I mean, I just got to do the attack, and that's pretty much it. So. As long as it's not, if we get to a point where, the content for 1.0 is there and I have some time to kill, then absolutely. If not, shortly afterwards, I'd say.
We had to put it. I probably should have put a little parental warning there. We were like, everybody's like, chat is like, oh my god, he's naked and stuff. So.
Yeah. Well, I didn't show him from the front here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's no.
No. You don't know what's in this behind the bag.
Now, Alex, didn't we have a little talk about the difference between boys and girls? We know what's in there.
Did we?
Next, I was just saying, I literally just got done watching Spinal Tap for like the 18th time, and where he has to. Have you ever seen that movie? Am I talking references and stuff that you have actually no idea what I'm talking about because you're like young?
I know what you're talking about. I just haven't watched it.
Oh my god, we've got to have if we ever get like all the boys together for like a crew vacation or something, we've got to do like a Spinal Tap movie night, because that is the story of our game.
Sure.
All right, gang. I'm hitting the wall. I've had enough. Anything else you want to add here, Alex? It's been fun.
No, I'm I'm just kind of kicking the can around here. I'm not really doing anything too important anymore
Right.
either.
It's all good,
Kinda
man.
hungry.
You all got a lot out of us here tonight. Thank you so much, chat. You guys are awesome as always. For any newcomers, we're at ProWrestlingX.com, Facebook.com/ProWrestlingX, Twitter.com/ProWrestlingX. Like our channel, yada, yada, yada. Follow us on Steam. If you have bought the game and left us a bad review because we were buttheads and didn't update it, please download the latest update and let us know what you think. And if it's worthy to turn that thumbs down into a thumbs up, we will gladly take that. We're working really hard to try to get those reviews back to where they should be. So by all means, if you're feeling that we're on the right track, please let us know. Help us out with that thumbs up. It really does help us out in terms of people looking at our game and seeing if people give the thumbs up or thumbs down. So thank you as always. Alex, it's been a pleasure. I'll tell Dave that y'all said hi, and hopefully we're going to buy him some kind of a magnetic shield or something for next week or something. Good Lord.
Will hat.
I like that. So we'll try to get him in here again. I guess the other thing I would say is just tune in next week for whatever Gong show we present next week, because Lord only knows. So thank you guys. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you around the